In light of the recent attack in Christchurch, New Zealand, Wild Dreamer Productions would like to take a brief moment of silence for all those lives affected by the tragedy. Hello and welcome to our third episode of MEERAcast, our podcast about everything you need to know, need to hear about theatre and dance updates in Australia, in Auckland, and what it takes to bring to life a truly magical, truly amazing stage production. So today I am joined by Rishabh Kapoor. Hello.
Hey, George, how are you?
I am fantastic. How are you going, Rishabh?
Awesome, just enjoying the Sunday.
The
It's
Sunday,
Sunday in Auckland. Yes.
absolutely. We're recording this on a Sunday morning, first thing in the morning. It's a little bit later over in Auckland. I'm actually here in Australia at the moment, so slight time difference, but I agree it is a beautiful day on this side of the world. But for everyone who doesn't know you or hasn't heard you before, can you tell us about yourself? Who are you? Introduce yourself for us.
Right. So my name is Rishabh, as George mentioned. Now, in terms of the team MEERA, I am one of the characters, playing one of the characters in the play, and I'm also assisting our beautiful directors in the show. So I'm also one of the assistant directors. Whenever Aarti or Chamkor are not here, I take charge of rehearsals and I make sure that everything's going right, the usual stuff. Um, yeah, and I've been acting for about 5.5, 6 years now. Now I've worked as a full-time actor and creative. Professionally, I was trained as a lawyer. I know it's quite different, but it's actually quite similar. Yeah, I think yeah, there's a lot to talk, but I think this sums up my life,
Yeah, that
in
sounds
two short things, yeah.
like one hell of a journey. I know that even last year we had a whole load of people in the show who was everyone from lawyers to engineers, all different backgrounds coming and collaborating on dance and theatre. So how did that look for you? How did you go from being a lawyer to then immersing yourself in the world of theatre? How did that look?
Good question, George. And that's a lot of people have asked me that question, that why would you leave being a lawyer and get onto something like being an actor? So basically, I've always been on stage somehow or the other growing up, either as involved as a musician or playing something or singing. I don't sing anymore. And yeah, and then basically I got into law. I got into a heavy side of law, which was income tax, and that's back home in India. And I was very young. I was like 20-ish. And by the age of 25, I was working 16 hours a day, 7 days a week, appearing in different courts all around the country, and especially the Supreme Court. Now, for people who are lawyers, they would understand that at the age of 25, you fighting cases in the Supreme Court of India, it's a big thing. Um, but I was not happy as a person because I felt like something's missing. I'm not creating stuff. I'm not doing what I like doing, and this always had that attraction towards performing arts. And then the universe, when you put it out in the universe that you want to do something else, it tries to create the path for you. And that's basically what happened. So I was approached by one of my friends who was working with one of the A-listers of Bollywood, or the Indian film fraternity, if I would call it the correct way. And he was working on a movie with a very big star, Amir Khan, and the movie's name was PK. And he came to Delhi for auditions and stuff, and he said, "Hey, I'm looking for this kind of person. Are you?" And then he looks at me and says, "Hey, why don't you just do it?" I'm like, okay. So inside, you're like, there are a lot of butterflies in your stomach already, just by the thought that you're auditioning for that big thing or a movie, just in general. I'm like, okay, cool. So see, law taught me to being in courts taught me to be confident in life, and I'll give it to that profession. Um, so I was like, yeah, cool, let's do it. So we just recorded, and we were having some beers in my apartment in Delhi, and we just recorded it randomly. And I was like, yeah, meh, nothing's gonna happen. I get a call at 12, almost 12 p.m. Or 12 a.m. in the night, and I'm like, it's his call, and I'm like, yeah, what's up? And he's like, I just had a news, so I want to tell you. And I'm like, it's not gonna be good news anyways, because I'm not an actor, I'm just a lawyer. And he's like, you know, the role you audition for, unfortunately, you'll not get that role. And I was like, okay, yeah, it's okay, move on. And then he's like, no, but the director loves your thing and he wants you to give something more than that. And I'm like, are you pulling my leg? Are you kidding around with me? And like, what's happening over here? So, like, long story short, that happened, and that was kind of a big trigger in my life at that stage a few years ago. Like, it's around 6, 7 years ago, 7 years ago, and that was a big trigger. And when I came back after that whole day of shooting for straight 11 hours, I was like, this is what I need to do. And I was so involved in my lawyer's life, and the whole family is like, "No, you're doing so good." My boss is like, "No, you're doing so good." So it was more like I felt trapped, and I'm like, there's no escape. I don't know how to escape this. I don't know how to disappoint so many nice people in my life. I don't know what to do. But see, that's the thing. And then at that time, the universe created another path for me. It's like, you can't leave this place, but well, let's do one thing. Let's change your country altogether.
Yeah.
So something started happening, and my father came to New Zealand, and he loved this place, and he's like, I want to go there. Why don't you come along? And I'm like, now you want me to leave everything and come there? He's like, yeah. If you leave India, you might lose a lot of things, but if you go to New Zealand, you might gain a lot of things that you always wanted in life. And I
Yeah.
just I just listened to that one sentence. I'm like, okay, I'm coming. And
Yeah.
that's simple. That's how I moved to New Zealand. And I decided that if I am going to New Zealand, yes, I will study law there, but my objective is not law. My objective is to get inside the industry. Maybe this is my break. This is why I wanted to be here. This is why the universe wanted me to be in New Zealand. And basically everything just started falling in place. And I got approached. I got approached for a job, so I took that job. And then at that job, the manager, oh sorry, the trainer of our team was an actor, Indian actor in New Zealand, and he said, "Oh, I make films and stuff, and maybe I can introduce you to somebody who might get you into a theater space." And then that person introduced me to somebody who was a bit of a famous actor. He still is, I mean, and he introduced me to my favorite company called Prayas, which is the leading and largest Indian community theater group in New Zealand. Uh, and that's it. And that was my first start. I got into a play, and then I got into a few more plays, and then that's it. And around 8 months ago, I decided that I don't need to do any corporate jobs anymore. Around a year ago, I decided to lay down my law exams. I don't want to be a lawyer. This is not what I want to do, and I don't want to put my energies into something I don't want to do. And that's pretty much it. And that's what I tell people. Sometimes it's just about getting up and going. It's like you can't think too much, because if you think, then logic starts creeping in.
Absolutely.
And
I must say your story as well. It touches on almost a running theme that we have with MEERA. Because I know that when we spoke with Artie, it was a
yeah,
really similar the story in that something doesn't exist until it does, and just
yes,
because something isn't a particular way or something isn't around doesn't mean that you driving it forward or just jumping in
mhm,
head first isn't going to bring it to life. So. And I must say as well, your story is actually very similar to my uncle. He was someone
mm,
who he wasn't actually a lawyer. He was in the
yeah, yeah,
military, in the army,
wow,
but he had a similar point where he had a similar break, and then absolutely just turned his life around. So I totally understand that, and it's sometimes just this pulling and drawing to the arts and theatre that just
yeah,
does something inside of us and brings it out. But you talk about your time in India, and now
yeah,
you're living in Auckland. And how long
yeah.
have you been in New Zealand now, all up?
It's today. It's been to it exact time at the moment. Makes it 4 years and 4 days.
Wow, wow.
This is the
So
exact time I landed. So yeah.
wow.
So,
And how much theatre have you been involved in? How many shows have you been up to so
um,
far? Tell us a bit about that history.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. So I think and I'm just on the top of my head, I don't remember the exact figures now, but I think by the end of July, I will be, I think, done with my 15th production
Wow.
in the last 4 years. Yeah, it's been a hell of a roller coaster ride, and it's been amazing. Uh, and yeah, and it's funny. The first show that I got into that I was telling you about with Prayas was called A Fine Balance, and it's a very famous novel by Rohtan Mistry. It was a very awarded playwright and a writer, and we did that. I opened with that play. I debuted with the play, and that play is happening again through Prayas and in collaboration with New Zealand's leading theatre company called the Auckland Theatre Company, the famous Auckland Theatre Company. And it's kind of a big step for South Asian community because this is the first time, and it's historic because this is the first time that they've opened doors for a collaborative effort like that, and it's a 100% South Asian play happening with ATC. So it's a big, big feat for all the community. Plus, it's a good opportunity for all the upcoming South Asian actors to get involved into mainstream theater. So we're doing that show again, starting this June, and it happens straight after MEERA. So currently, I'm working on 3 shows. One of them is MEERA, which is the first one to come, and then we've got there's another show I'm doing for the satellite project. It's called Hollywood Extra, and then we've got A Fine Balance happening.
And A Fine Balance, I must say, sounds a lot like the ethos that comes from Wild Dreamer and MEERA. It's all about this kind of community collaboration between artists and especially just the huge resources and funds behind to give these guys a platform. That's so cool that it seems to be going off in Auckland right now, the theatre.
Yeah, absolutely. And see, MEERA is also bringing a similar palette to Auckland because MEERA has this cast and crew which comprises of a lot of different ethnic groups and diversity. And there's a very big misconception that people have about diversity is that when you talk about diversity, it's like, hey, diversity is people from different color, but all of us are diversity. If you put, and don't take me, I mean, in the wrong sense, but if you put like a brown person, a black person, if you want to call them, or a white person, or a semi-brown person. I don't know. I just don't like using color names. I just like calling people people. So
Yeah.
if you put different types of people, I would say from different backgrounds in a room, that's all diversity.
Exactly.
And
Whether you've got people from different countries, different nationalities, different
exactly,
religions,
exactly. It
there's
doesn't
no
matter
boundary.
if you're white or black or brown or orange or pink. It doesn't matter. You just have to be a person of a different background, and that makes you diverse. Um, so yeah, I mean, and see, and that's what MEERA is. MEERA has also got so many flavors of different backgrounds of people coming from all walks of life, coming from all different kind of races, if you want to use that word. If it, descri- It helps people to understand. That's it. Um, and and it's all about getting all those energies together, getting all those backgrounds together, getting all those people together. It's like a canvas, and you're throwing different paints to it,
It
and you
is, and
see, and it will create some magic ultimately.
I think that something we touched on last week, we got to speak with Cham Kaur, the drama
Hmm.
consultant for the show.
Yeah,
And something
yeah.
we talked about is that one person on stage or just only one person directing doesn't
Mm.
bring a theatre show together. And I think that's what makes theatre so special, is that
Yeah,
the only way for it to work and be this success and be this amazing, captivating show is for this entire collaboration between a whole load of
absolutely.
people in the background, not only on the actual stage, but
Mm.
behind that production as well. There's what brings it to life.
Absolutely. There's so much that goes on um, behind the scenes or backstage, as people say. There's so much that goes on in order to put that 1 hour of show. There's months and months of rehearsals. There's months and months of hard work. There's months and months of practice, dancing, choreography, thinking artistically what you want to put in there, thinking about music, thinking about lights, sound. Every small detail needs to be looked after because ultimately people have come in for an experience, and this is not a movie. It's a live experience, right? And people engage with you core to core. That's what we actors think about, engaging with the audience. That's what they have come to experience. And it's such a beautiful process. After about anything else, it's a beautiful process that people enjoy working, and you have to have a lot of passion to do theater. That's one thing you got to have because it's, as I said, it's not like a film. It is a very attaching to you. A theater project attaches to you, and becomes a part of you for a few days. And that's how I have a lot of withdrawal symptoms when I leave my shows. After my shows, I have massive withdrawal symptoms. Like I sometimes feel I should go check with somebody, go for therapy or somebody. No, no, it's not even funny. I have massive withdrawal symptoms after my projects.
Well, I must
And,
say, I get that because I personally have never been involved with theatre. I'm only more on the marketing side. But
mhm,
towards the end of last year, something I felt, especially after our show was done, was just this huge sense of detachment from all these
yeah,
people that over the last year, 18 months, had just developed a almost family-like connection with. These are people I saw all the time and connected with their stories and understood their passions and their drives for why they did what they did. And once the show is done, only that single moment on stage, and then once it's finished, that show is over. And I can totally understand that feeling, especially when you're one of the people on stage and so in that family.
Yeah, absolutely. And you miss kind of you miss that. You miss being around with someone. And see, that's why I love theater. Again, that's the other reason I love theater is because, or in the matter of fact, I mean, I am close to theater. I do films as well, but it's it's kind of it's like it brings so many people together and it bonds them. And yeah, I mean, sometimes when people come to watch a theater or a movie, they're like, yeah, the actor is acting and that's all they do. They just come on stage and they act. But there's so much hard work that's going on inside that actor at that
Mm.
point. And there's so much hard work that people like the crew, like people like you, Arthi or Chumkor, or even a small stagehand or help does is immense. It's immense how everyone contributes to that
Yeah.
one moment of brightness that happens and shines on stage. Yeah, obviously the actors steal a lot of it, but then because you need a vessel to tell that story as well, right?
Of course. And that's something, especially at Wild Dream, I know that we understand and appreciate really dearly, is it is only for that short amount of time or that single moment on stage. But something that we really try to do is create this community, this following of people where we continually provide not only this amazing show and this amazing vibe and excitement, but especially once that show is over now, following on that journey as well. I know that on our Facebook pages, we still store all of our videos on our
Hmm.
YouTube, and especially with these
Yeah,
podcasts as well. We want to create a vehicle online almost for even once that show has finished, like it has in Gold Coast, that those
yeah,
people can still follow on and be a part of seeing the future, how the future journey unfolds. But
that's great.
you spoke a bit about behind the scenes, and obviously your role not only as one of the main characters, but also as an assistant director. But
Yeah,
tell us how that's panned out. What are some of your roles or your tasks in that such?
absolutely. So, I mean, uh, an assistant director, or if you want to call like on a film set called the first AD, is basically the person who runs the shot when the director is busy thinking about the main stuff. So
Mm.
it's basically being the director or the drama consultant's wingman, and making sure that their vision is portrayed, and you can make other people understand, organize them, get people together. It's a hell of a task because it's more like it's all about getting those small babies in the room, and making sure that you're monitoring them nice and well and they're behaving well. Because even people behave like adults behave like small children. And it's funny because we have a lot of children on set, and we also have a lot of adults on set. So we've got like people ranging from 5 years and going all the way up to 60 years.
Wow.
Yeah, and the funny thing is sometimes the young ones are more well behaved than the other ones because they have more because children are so naive. They don't you can't teach a child how to play. It's more like that. So they're naturally playful, and
And we're all a bit
sometimes
of a child deep down, aren't we? I mean, we're all a bit mischievous, but
no, we should be. We should be. I think one thing I thoroughly believe in that you should, and this is something I think I might have read it somewhere because I can't, I know I have read it, but I can't remember where I have, and I'm not quoting it the right way, but this is what I got out of it. Like, I think we as a first human being, we should feel half our age. We should behave um, our age, and I think we should think double our age. It's more like you should have that foresightedness
yeah,
about that age, but you should not feel that you're getting old, but you should feel that you're getting younger
yeah.
in life, and you should behave of what you are, so you can enjoy that moment as well. So yeah, I mean, and it's beautiful how people come together in a rehearsal space. Everyone has got a different flavor to them. When you talk to them, it's different. You direct people, it's different. And some most of the times directing people is just trying to get them to break their barrier and be free and enjoy the moment of what they're doing, enjoy the process. It's not about the show, it's about that journey that we have to enjoy. Because if you're not enjoying the journey, the show it's irrelevant. It's irrelevant.
And how has the show and the cast been shaping up so far this year? Everything's
Oh,
on track and looking good.
yeah, everything's looking good. We are waiting for our launch next weekend. So it's almost like 6 days to go for the launch, in which we have some important dignitaries from New Zealand, like the mayor is coming, Mr. Phil Goff. And yeah, it's gonna be beautiful to portray those flavors and bring that, give them a little sample of what Meera is all about. So we are prepping for that at the moment. The people are looking good. The cast members are looking good. Personally haven't seen the dance side of things because there's another person looking after that. So I'm intrigued to see how the dance thing flows out.
Yeah, I know I
Uh,
saw a few of the dance rehearsals actually last week.
oh, you did?
I got to drop in at some of the Gold Coast rehearsals anyway,
Oh, you're
and
lucky.
they're looking great. I got to see Zara
Yeah,
and Isaac, who were the teen Meera and teen Krishna, and they were just looking
perfect.
gorgeous together. They're looking great. So I can give you a gold star next to that one. We're looking good on that end.
Great, awesome. And like, and see, you're one of the lucky. And it's so beautiful that not half, but some elements of the cast are prepping in Gold Coast with Aarti. The majority are prepping here with us in Auckland. And it'll be beautiful to see how everything comes together and how these two cities merge together. And yeah, so I'm very excited and waiting. I'm excited about that to
I'm
see when everyone comes together in the same room.
Definitely. I'm so excited as well because even from our show last year, one thing I took away was that the show was just full of all these gems of amazing talent from the Gold Coast. And now we're taking some of those gems and combining that with gems of Auckland talent.
Yeah.
And as we go on and go forward and go further, the show is just going to tweak and evolve and become even more amazing. I'm so excited to see it every single time. It's just going to keep evolving and getting better. But
Absolutely.
you tell us a bit about the different flavors that you've seen this year in the dancing and in the people backing. I know recently online I saw Artie and Shagun, the director and the production manager, got the opportunity to meet up with Auckland's Minister for Ethnic Communities. So there's a
Yeah.
lot of different flavors behind bringing the show to life and supporting the show along its journey. But what are some of the flavors that you've seen? Is it more from the cast and the different styles of acting that you've seen? How is this show? How is it almost unique from all those different shows that you've done before? How is it a little bit different?
Good, very good question, George. And I'll go with the perspectives of the performers because I think it's only fair if I get on that point more.
Of course.
So yeah, there are. It's funny, see, because I'll tell you one of our characters, Udabai. She's one of the we like to call it. Team Meera likes to call it the evil character.
Yeah.
I like the antagonist. One of the antagonist characters. Now that character is being played by a very very powerful woman called Marianne Infante. She is one. She's in her early 20s and she's one of the leading producers and actors and South Asian, I would say, and performers and creative to the Auckland industry.
Oh, you made me even. We're actually getting the opportunity to speak to her next week, so you made me even more exciting for that chat that's
Oh,
coming
she's
up.
an amazing powerhouse. She's one of the hardest working people I've seen. Now, you know what background she comes from? She is from the Philippines. Um, and when she heard about Meera, she wanted to audition. Now, she messaged somebody, and then somebody guided her to message me. She was, and this is something I don't know if she's happy for me to tell you, but she was a bit reluctant on auditioning. And I said, and she asked me, "Hey, Rish, do I audition for this?" I'm like, "Why wouldn't you audition for this?" And she's like, "No, this is, it sounds like a very Indian side of story, and I don't want to be disrespectful in or mocking it by just coming for the auditions." And I'm like, "No, this is not yes, this is an Indian story, but this is about, it's not told by just Indian people. It's a story about love. It's a story about sacrifice. It's a story about women being powerful. It's a story about a human being who's trying to break the norm and express freely. So it doesn't matter what background you come from. This is what it is." And then yeah, and funny, she took that advice, or I would not say advice, but she took my word and she came for the auditions, and now she's casted. Um, Now there's another character with us called Bhojraj. So no spoiler alerts. And that character is being played by a 20-year-old boy, or I would say a 20-year-old man, who is an amazing emerging South Asian actor. Now, and he's half Sri Lankan and half Samoan. So there's two different parts of the worlds getting merging together. Then we have small kids who are amazing gymnasts. And when they come to the real, I'm talking about two girls over here, Chloe and Leela. And these two beautiful young girls are so talented. And last time I was in rehearsals, and we had that small break, and they were like doing all sorts of funny stuff. They were doing cartwheels, they were free, no hand cartwheels, handstands and stuff. And I was just looking at them, and they're like, hey, why don't you try now? And I'm like, I'm 30. Are you serious? They're like, no, 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 you should try, you should try. And the fun thing is, and I did try now because I used to do I was a gymnast when I was young. So even I got into that thing, and that brought out a little side of me that I had been missing for a very long time. And this is what I'm talking about. Then we've got a guy called Joseph, who's a Maori, and he brings a lot of his culture, his stillness to the show, and he teaches you a lot of other things. So it's that's how everyone comes together from all these different flavors,
I
and they kind of you know gel into each other, and they teach you. Everyone teaches you something, so it'll be beautiful to see so many different kind of people perform and telling the story of Meera.
I totally agree, and it's actually often a common point of misconception about MEERA is what that kind of story entails. As much as the plot in the show does absolutely is entrenched in that ancient story that comes from India about MEERA and Krishna, the whole show itself isn't a story about religion or
At all.
about that story. It's just purely in its essence a love story, and these are just the two characters that love story shows. So
Absolutely.
it's absolutely just that artistic interpretation that we absolutely love to see and have seen so many
Yeah.
times, and is just all about that sacrifice, is putting women in that powerful spot and showing that they can also be the center stage and have that spotlight shone on
And I
them.
think Meera was way ahead of her times. She was way ahead of her times.
Absolutely.
Because we needed Meera. We need a lot of Meeras today. And it's growing. It's getting better.
It is.
And
The
that's
community
beautiful to see.
theatre, I know, is one of the fastest growing sectors, and
Yeah.
just bringing these people together, it's the vehicle that drives the industry forward and keeps shows like this alive and almost think tanking and working with people's passions and talents to create an amazing production.
Absolutely.
But you talk a bit about what's been happening in Auckland and obviously the rehearsals and stuff. But
Mhm.
what else has been happening? We've been here drips and drabs about other events, potentially something involving packed lunches or you guys dressing up as chefs for a day. What else has
Oh,
been
yes.
happening? And what else have you guys been up to? Because it seems like it's
Yes.
not all just show planning.
No, not at all. We kind of like to do our stuff and giving back to the community as well. So there was a beautiful event planned by one of our team members, Darshna. And there's a thing called Eat My Lunch that happens that does not happen. It's like a company that is a New Zealand company which feeds Kiwi kids or feeds Kiwi kids, and I mean any kind of kid who is not able who can't afford a meal to school. Um, and what they do is every time I think is and I may be wrong in the understanding, so don't take me about the business model. But how they work is basically I think you as a corporate or as an organization or as an individual you can buy lunches from them for
Mm.
yourself to consume, and every time you get a lunch they give one lunch to somebody. They pack a lunch for the kid. So it's more like for example, you buy a $15 lunch bag, half of that goes into buying another. So every lunch you buy or every box you buy creates a new box to be given out to children.
Gives back to that community. Wow.
Yeah, and they do, and they involve a lot of volunteers with them every morning, and we start early at 6 a.m. For about 3.5 hours, and all you do is pack lunches for the kids. So we as Team Meera volunteered around 10, 15 of us, and we were all there, and we were packing lunches. So this was my third time going there. So
Wow.
I'm always excited to be there.
You're a seasoned
So
professional packing lunches.
Oh, absolutely. Now I was a pro. I've become a pro.
Wasn't this why you
Go
left law? Was just to pack lunches?
exactly. Now that's the point. You stole my words there, George. Because this is why I do it.
I did my
Uh,
research.
oh man, beautiful. So it was such a nice thing that these are the things that you do without any. You don't want anything in return for this.
Yeah.
This is true service. This is like you're just giving. There's no taking in it. And I like giving as a person. I like giving as much as I can.
Absolutely,
So
it's one of our primary ethos at Wild Dreamer is giving these artists the equipment, the resources, the platform, the
yeah,
stage they need to grow, the platform to give back and collaborate with others. And that's why we love
absolutely.
doing these kind of events, because they are, as much as we work with the local community and get inputs from them, we want to be giving back everywhere that we can. I actually think there's some of you guys, I'm not sure if you're involved, but some of the Auckland
Mm.
team will be going to actually, I believe, a primary or high school in Auckland to do almost like a theatre masterclass. And we're just
Yeah,
trying to find every way we can to give back to that community.
absolutely,
It's
absolutely. What's the point if we can't if we can't give something back? I mean, we shouldn't be as human beings. We shouldn't be selfish because so I started. It's funny because I also started something on a year before my like not this year, but the year before this on my birthday. I started something in India. I went to India for this, and it was called hashtag It's My Birthday. And I started this movement when I went to one of the orphanages for underprivileged children. And
okay.
I celebrated my birthday with them, and I took like around I can't remember, like 50 or 60 odd lunch boxes and a massive cake, and you know the funny, and I'll tell you what's funny, because I wanted to buy toys for them, I wanted to buy clothes for them. But I wanted to know how many people are there, how many kids are there, what is the age range. So I called up the sister, because it's there was a sister over there who runs the thing, and I called her and asked her, sister, what do the children, what kind of age range the children are, so I can get them toys. So she's like, don't get them toys. If you want to get us something, get us supplies. I'm like, what do you want? And she said, get us detergents, get us toothpaste, get us toothbrushes, get us Dettol's, get us, disinfectants to clean the floor. And that touched me so much. That touched me so much. I was like, wow, man, these guys they don't, toys are not important for them. We think we want to give this back. Toys are not important. They need something else. They need these things. They need the basics. And that's when I thought, as artists, as creators, it is our responsibility to do anything to give these people, not these people, just give people back anything you can. Because you don't know how much you inspire somebody just being on stage, how much of a story that you're telling might click in somebody's head, and that person be like, okay, I need to do this today. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
a, it's a, it's a wider thing. It's a very wide thing, but I think that's what theater or any art does, is inspire people to do something, uh, or ignites a thing into them, which helps them doing something inside other people's for other people and
And
other
it's
people's art.
almost as well as something that you might not even thought that might have been needed. I know that last week, like, you didn't think that you thought they might have needed toys, but instead what they
Mm.
actually needed was toothpaste and detergent
Yeah,
and things.
yeah,
I know that when we got to speak to Chomkor last
yeah.
week about Artie's kind of journey, is she wanted to just do a stage show. She was just doing her theatre dance school, but didn't realize that she had to create this whole vehicle to bring the community together. Her vision of just doing a
Absolutely.
stage production wasn't actually enough to bring it to life, and it instead required actually all these additional things that her friends, her mentors have passed down to her along the way, different advices, but instead actually identified what it was that the community needed to keep theatre alive, not only in the Gold Coast, but any community that the show touches. So I totally agree that it is that sometimes you don't even realize what it is that a community needs,
Yeah,
but then once you know,
absolutely.
that's when you've got to grip tight and hold and make it happen.
Exactly. And just like Aarti, I mean, one of my mentors, one of my gurus, I would like to call him, and one of a very selfless creative is his name is Ahi Karunaharan, and he's our leading South Asian creative director and actor in New Zealand. And it is not his. I don't think it's his mission, but it's kind of his passion to create paths and ways for our community, our South Asian community, and because of him, we are collaborating with ATC and breaking those barriers. So we need more people like Ahi, we know people like Aarti who want to break the norm and try and do something which is, which is not for them, which is not just a small show, but it's like you said, it's a vehicle for other people to jump on, and and be part of this. We need to create more options for people to come in and join us.
Absolutely. And I think that's what makes, I know that's what makes me, but I'm sure makes everyone else as well, so excited to see MEERA this year. And I know that tickets are actually on an early bird discount sale at the moment. They're actually a lot cheaper, but do you know who you'll be bringing to the show? Who will be watching you there? Have you got tickets? Have you organized who will be coming? Family, friends, lover?
Yeah.
Tell us. Give us the
Oh my
deets.
God. Family, yes, obviously my family is very supportive of what I do, and that's the reason I do what I do. My mom, dad, and my sister, and I've got my brother-like friend, elder brother, and a few more people. So I like my family's, they always come for my shows, my family and friends, and I have like a bunch of 20, 25 odd friends that come off all my shows. So I will definitely have those people intact. Lover, that's a very good question. Um, well, my status is kind of in the middle of being single and not being single.
Oh,
Or
is this
yeah.
in light of all those photos we've been seeing online of you at the gym?
Oh, yeah. Being that's my other girlfriend. That's Jim's my other girlfriend because I mean it's not just a gym. I love being fit. I love like eating clean food, and that's this is something I feel like I want to inspire people to do a lot is eat nice, take care of yourself. You can still enjoy life by doing all of that. It's not like you have to eat boiled food. It's about eating the right things, taking care of yourself. Because if you take care of yourself, you are being a less burden on the ecosystem, and then you can contribute more back. Because if you're not able to love yourself and take care of yourself, I don't think anyone can love anyone else if they can't take care of themselves
Absolutely.
or
I know
love
a
themselves.
famous person that once said, if you can't love yourself, how the hell are you going to love somebody else? So,
Exactly, and that's so
absolutely.
true.
Amen.
That's so true. You have to love yourself in a good way.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so I don't know about my lover. I don't know if she's gonna be watching the show.
Well,
Uh,
maybe after she sees you on stage at MEERA, she'll be hook, line, and sinker for you.
oh yeah, yeah. I hope so. I mean, she herself is part of the creative industry. Not digging into more details. Let's see what happens. It's still fingers crossed.
We'll see. We will
Yeah.
surely
Hey,
see.
just putting out on the podcast, I'm still single. As I said, if anyone's listening and hoping to go on a coffee date, I'm always free. But
Well, we will definitely keep that on tap. You can find out more information about our show or about Rishabh himself on our website. Just Google Wild Dreamer Productions and you'll find it. You can do the same on our socials. You can just search MEERA or MEERA the Production on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. We will come right up. And we're also on Twitter for anyone that uses that. But of course, everybody get in and book your tickets now. You'll see me, you'll see Rishabh on stage performing in all his glory. And that is at this May and June at ASB Waterfront Theatre. So thank you so much, Rishabh. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your
thank you,
insights. It
George.
has been truly great to talk to you. And I'm
Same.
sure I'll see you very soon. Keep up the hard work, bringing the show to
Thank
life.
thank you, George. And yeah, just to everyone listening, hey, please book your tickets fast before they sell out. Right now, it's early bird, so you get a huge discount. And it's not because we want to sell tickets; it's because we want everyone to come and watch the show. And yeah, it's a beautiful confluence of different kind of forms and cultures and varieties of creative cocktails. So please do come watch the show. You got to do that selling part as well, George. So I'm just making sure I've ticked that box off.
Thank you. You're taking over the job soon. Very much appreciated.
Thanks, George. Thanks. Enjoy
Thanks,
the day.
Rishabh. Thank you so much. And we'll
Lovely
talk to you
talking
soon,
to you.
everybody. See you later.
Cheers. Bye.